If your boyfriend or friend is making you watch the UFC this weekend, but you don't really know what's going on, here's everything you need to know about the upcoming fight night. This is going to be Brandon Moreno versus Steve Erceg. Okay, here's the rundown. This is a flyweight fight, which means that they weigh in at 125 pounds. It's the smallest division for men. It's going to be a 5-round fight because it's a main event, and it will be in Mexico City. This is important for two reasons. The first is that this is kind of on Brandon's home turf. Brandon is Mexican. He's from Tijuana, so the crowd is very, very much going to be in Brandon's favor. Mexico City also has an insanely high elevation. I believe it is the highest place that the UFC will ever host events. If you know anything about altitude, the higher up you go, the harder it is to perform athletically, so that is a built-in challenge. Erceg here has been on a bit of a losing streak that he wants to recover from, and Brandon Moreno wants to show that he is still a title contender to get his belt back. On here, you can see their ages and records. Let's talk about Brandon first. He is number 2 in the flyweight rankings, and he is the first Mexican UFC champion. He has a super inspiring story. When he was on his season of The Ultimate Fighter, he was like the last seed picked, but he eventually got to join the UFC, was cut from the UFC, and then just kind of built his way back up to becoming champion. He's just like a cutie patootie. Like, he collects Legos and Funko Pops and is super nice. People love him. I always recommend people watching his maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow speech, and then footage also of him winning the belt. His family and kids live in Las Vegas now. However, he grew up in Tijuana helping his family make piñatas. They had a piñata business. He's a huge fan favorite. He's also really well integrated into the UFC. I always see him doing business stuff and like interviews and doing press for the UFC and that sort of thing. Now let's talk about Steve Erceg. He's number 8 right now in the flyweight rankings. He's an incredible fighter. He has a great fight IQ. He is a black belt in BJJ, and he's only been in the UFC for less than 2 years, and he's kind of skipped the line. Like, he's fighting top talent right now. He was actually first a WWE pro wrestling fan before he was an MMA fan, but when Brock Lesnar made the switch into MMA, he kind of followed Brock and became an MMA fan as well. He's well-rounded. He's competed in Muay Thai and BJJ. I feel like he's a lot funnier than people give him credit for. He's really nice. He's talked about how he wants to be completely sober until he wins his title, just kind of as a motivator. I think it's really unfortunate for him that he's fighting such a fan favorite on Mexican soil. However, he seems like a really good dude, really talented. That about sums it up for the main event of this weekend's fight night. Let me know who you got in the comments. Let me know if you have any questions. And as always, thank you to my bookie for sponsoring this series. I'm going to put my promo code in the caption, but you can get like a 50% bonus on a deposit up to $8,000.